A call to prayer rolls across a Martian valley. Sound travels differently in thin air, softened by domes and pressure shields. Solar panels tilt toward the rising sun. Beneath a glass sky, a mosque dome rises, etched with geometric patterns that double as climate regulators. Children drift past on their way to class, gravity dialed low, tablets open to lessons that move between physics, ethics, and history without friction. This is not how popular culture usually imagines the future. Most films and games default to chrome spacecraft, neon city-states, and endless night. Their futures feel fast, loud, and hollow. They show progress without memory. They rarely ask a basic question. What does the future look like when Muslims are not erased, exoticized, or reduced to background scenery? That question is where Muslim futurism begins. Muslim futurism imagines futures shaped by Islamic ethics, law, and moral responsibility, rather than futures where Muslims exist only as aesthetic texture or historical remnants. It is not science fiction where everyone suddenly wears hijabs. It is not cyberpunk with Arabic signs pasted onto slums. It is a cultural and philosophical approach that treats Islamic intellectual traditions as living systems capable of extending into the future. In these futures, technology has limits and purpose. Energy systems exist because stewardship of the earth is a moral duty. Cities are built to reduce harm before maximizing output. Artificial intelligence is trained on legal reasoning, ethical debate, and principles of justice alongside data. Sometimes it quotes poetry. Sometimes it pauses rather than acts. That pause matters. Muslim futurism is not confined to fiction. Science fiction is one vehicle, not the destination. The same thinking appears in debates about ethical technology, urban design, governance, medicine, and law. It asks who controls systems, who benefits from them, and who bears their cost. To understand Muslim futurism, you have to look backward as much as forward. This is not about inventing a future from nothing. It is about continuing a conversation that began centuries ago. In Baghdad, scholars built observatories to track the movement of planets with precision. Hospitals treated patients regardless of wealth. Libraries preserved and expanded knowledge from across civilizations. Scholars argued fiercely about law, medicine, philosophy, and theology, often in the same room. Science and ethics were not treated as separate domains. Knowledge without restraint was understood as dangerous. That inheritance still shapes Muslim futurist thinking. The future is not a blank slate. It carries responsibility. While much of Europe struggled with basic sanitation, Muslim astronomers mapped the stars and refined instruments that later guided global navigation. This is not a boast. It is context. When people suggest Muslims do not belong in visions of the future, history disagrees. You can already see partial traces of Muslim futurism in popular culture, even when creators do not name it. Games like Assassin's Creed reconstruct Islamic cities with attention to light, space, and community flow. These designs feel adaptable, capable of stretching forward in time. Comics like Ms. Marvel can sometimes place Muslim identity inside superhero narratives so that faith and family coexist with power. Yet science fiction often borrows Islamic and Middle Eastern imagery only to flatten it. Sand, ruins, and mystery return again and again. The familiar desert filter persists. The future looks ancient before it even begins. These are glimpses, not arrivals. They hint at Muslim futurism, but stop short of letting Muslims own the future on screen. That ownership is the point. For decades, Muslims have been boxed in by imagination, cast as symbols of the past or threats in the present. Muslim futurism rejects that framing outright. It makes a simple claim: Muslims were here, are here, and will still be here. The future does not belong to a single culture, language, or worldview. Muslim futurism does not assume a single outcome. Islamic thought has never been uniform. Disagreement, debate, and tension are part of ethical life. These futures are not pure or settled. They are argued over. Cultural continuity also does not vanish with technology. The future may still include geometric art, calligraphy, and cardamom coffee. If the cafe of the future does not serve cardamom coffee, some of us are going back to the past. This is not only about representation. It is about how progress is defined. In Muslim futurist visions, progress is not speed alone. It is justice that survives speed. Cities prioritize shared space and care. Surveillance is questioned and restricted. Navigation systems refuse routes that enable environmental destruction. Medical systems prioritize care over profit. Economic assumptions are challenged rather than treated as inevitable. Technology serves life. Life does not serve technology. Mainstream pop culture still struggles to imagine this balance. When Muslims appear in futuristic worlds, they are often decoration or absent entirely. Muslim futurism reverses that logic. It places Muslim characters, philosophies, and aesthetics at the center of decision-making. Muslims are not extras in someone else's future. They are builders of their own. In the end, Muslim futurism is more than a genre. It is a claim to time, space, and responsibility. It treats the future not as a break from tradition, but as its continuation under new conditions. And yes, in the year 3000, someone will still be late for Friday prayers. The future, like faith, will still be lived by imperfect people.